Hey, it's Darren, Detailing Underground. What I'm going to talk to you today about is windows. Ask any detailer. It's one of the more frustrating moments of the auto detailing process. Ask any customer, they'll tell you the same. They probably have more complaints about windows not being done correctly than probably anything else. So I'm going to offer up a few tips. We're going to split this in two. We've got the outside and we've got the inside. For the most part, they're the same, but there's a few tricks and techniques that you can use depending upon which side of the window you're referring to. I'm going to start with the outside. Now, when your window is done, aside from the fact that I've just been touching this for the past minute, this window has already been done. When done, your window, just like your paint, should feel silky smooth. If there's any kind of texture to it, that means you have what's called fallout or pollution stuck to the window, and that's where you would need to use a clay bar on it, which looks just like this. Now they come in many colors. This one actually started out in blue. It's been used much, but the point is if you use the clay bar first, it will take off that grit that you will feel on your window. Now, you don't want that grit because that's going to lessen your end result. So if you can remove that grit first, you'll have better results. So if you have grit, take it off first. Next step, and this is if you do your own window, or I'm sorry, if you wash your own car, is each step of the process, in this case windows. This is my window cleaner. Once again, I use Meguiar's. And I'm a big fan of Meguiar's. I'll repeat myself many times, and there's a reason, because A, they make really good products, B, they're easy to get, and C, they're very economical as far as pricing goes. So I'm a big fan. Anyhow, so when it comes to the good news about this situation is that it's less about the product and more about technique and tools. And when I say tools, this is one of them, a microfiber cloth. So if you wash your own car and you're down to the drying off process, however you do that, before you do the windows, you don't want a bunch of water spots on them from the washing process. So I take a dampened microfiber cloth and I completely go over each window so that all that's there are the ultra fine water spots. I don't know if this is going to show up in the video, but if I do this, you can start seeing that there is a difference here. This is the point I want it to be at before I actually go to my window cleaner. Second tool is what is called, well, in my world, I call it my window rags. In the outside world, it's what's officially called a Huck Towel or a surgical towel. I don't know why, that's just what they call it. It's made out of 100% cotton. It's virtually lint-free. I prefer these over a microfiber because the microfibers, after they've been used a while, they've been washed and dried, they start to actually dry out and start shedding all the little fibers. That can become very problematic when it comes to windows, especially on a tinted window like this that shows black and it shows every little flaw, every little piece of lint. So the point is that I can wash these over and over again. They're virtually lint-free. They're going to hold up. They're ideal for windows. This is the exact one I get on Amazon. There'll be a link on my site. You can get your own. You'll notice it's pretty big. Some of you may look at that and think, wow, that's too big. Well, actually, this to me is the ideal size. As society, we've been basically trained that more is always better. If this is good enough, then more must be better. Well, unfortunately, sometimes more just means more. It doesn't mean it's better, it just means more of. In this case, this is the ideal size because, for example, if this was half the size and I folded it, it would be too small to work with and it would saturate too quickly, because what I want to do with windows is keep what I call a wet side and a dry side. So at this point, I'm going to hit it with the wet side first, or I also call this the dirty side versus the clean or dry side. Make sure I get all the corners, and then I flip the cloth over and I buff it to perfection. And that's the reason Now that window is perfect, and that's the reason this cloth is the ideal size, because I can fold it based on the time of year. Why is that a factor? Because in the summertime, like it is now, I'm going to use a little more product because it's going to dry rather quickly as I spray the product onto the window. Wintertime, it's not going to dry as quick, so sometimes the rag tends to get oversaturated, and I want to maintain a dry side and a wet side, or a dirty side and a clean side, or step 1 or step 2. You can call it whatever you want. When I'm training my guys, this is what I tell them, whether it's wheels, windows, applying the wax, removing the wax. You've got different sides of the cloth, and if it's not thick enough where you can fold it and it doesn't become saturated, then it becomes a problem. So this really is ideal. Some of the reviews on Amazon said that when the customers got them, the edges were already frayed. I have no problem. I think it's an ideal towel. This is one of my newer ones. It's only gone through the wash a couple times. Yeah, it's a little on the stiff side, but not so stiff. Obviously, if I was going to wash my body with it or my face, it might feel a little stiff, but when it comes to cars or windows, specifically in this case, it's ideal. Now that we've taken care of the outside, let's jump on the inside, because what happens is on the inside is often people will go so long that a massive layer of film will build up on the inside. It looks just like a hazy smoke film, and you can make little pictures in it. But the point is if you just jump to the last step that I just showed you with straight window cleaner and the Huck Towel, you'll become very frustrated. Yes, it will be better, but it will not be perfection. So if there's enough of a film or buildup on it, you need to first prep the area with one of these miracle eraser pads that I think are like the 9th wonder of the world. I use them in so many ways when it comes to detailing. They just do an amazing job in many ways, and this is just one of many. I take a solution of 50% alcohol and 50% distilled water. The reason I use distilled water is because it will have no impurities whatsoever to that water. No minerals, no nothing. It's just pure. So I mix that with rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is good. It cuts grease. So I prep the window first. I just douse the inside of the window just like this, and I will just use the rag or the miracle eraser back and forth just like this on the inside. It's that straightforward. After I do that, that would be the equivalent of using the clay bar on the outside. The miracle eraser would be the equivalent of the clay bar on the inside. Then I'm going to take my wet microfiber cloth, and this is damp. I can't wring any water out of it, but it's damp. And I wipe down the area. Like I said before, each step is meant to be independent of each other. You want your particular tool or your particular product to do the job it's designed to do, not do 5 different jobs, because your end results will be determined on how much you require of your product. In this case, window cleaner, it's really just for the final step. It's not meant to remove fallout or that haze that's so thick that it's just unrealistic to think that a traditional window cleaner is going to be able to cut through that much haze and leave you with a perfectly clean window. So after you've done the miracle eraser, the rubbing alcohol, distilled water solution, you wipe it with this dampened microfiber cloth, and then we get to go to the Huck Towel. Once again, I fold it based on the time of year. This is about I fold it twice. This is about the ideal size and thickness that I like. And if this were the inside, once again, it's the wet side first. Make sure you cut all the corners. Unlike the traditional cutting of corners, this just means, kind of like if you're peening, you make sure your finger tips get every area of that window. And then I flip it over and buff it to perfection, just like that. And now we have a perfectly clean window, and just like every other area of detailing or lighting is everything. So you've got to look at your final job in different lighting, different angles, whether you're removing wax, polishing, doing windows. You need to look at it different angles to verify and check your work. In this case, I see nothing but perfection, which is what we're always after. So hopefully these tips will help you in getting windows that look this perfect. Okay, I'm not sure if this is going to show up, but I want to show you the film and the haze on the inside of this car. It's hard to catch in the right light. It's one of those moments where if you catch it in the right light, it's very revealing in a bad way, and can get so bad you can't even see out of your windows. It actually becomes dangerous. So I'll check it out on my computer to see if it happens to show up. But that's the before over on the left, and that's the after, or I'm sorry, that's just the before on the left. I haven't done it on the inside of the right.